Something broke in Cleveland yesterday. And it wasn't the scoreboard, it wasn't the locker room, and it wasn't the Browns' playoff hopes. It was Shedeur Sanders, standing under those bright lights, facing the toughest questions of his young NFL career, and choosing to do something almost no rookie quarterback ever does. He told the truth, not excuses, not deflection, not blaming teammates, coaches, or the chaos happening around him. Shedeur stood at that podium, 22 years old, 2 NFL starts, behind a broken O-line, surrounded by veterans melting down on the sideline. And he took full responsibility for a loss that wasn't even his fault, and the NFL felt it. Reporters tried to bait him. They tried to get him to trash Kevin Stefanski's play calling. They tried to push him into criticizing Jerry Jeudy, whose explosive sideline confrontation had already gone viral. But Shedeur didn't fold. He stared right at the reporter and said, "First, that's a rude question." He defended his coach. He protected his teammates. He refused to throw anyone under the bus, even after Jeudy stepped into his face like a man looking for a fight. And then, in the most heartbreaking moment of the entire press conference, he looked down, took a breath, and said, "I didn't do a great job rallying everybody. I need to be better." And the entire NFL paused, because this level of accountability, this maturity, this leadership does not come from rookies. This comes from franchise quarterbacks. This comes from stars. This comes from players built for greatness. Cleveland didn't just witness a press conference. They witnessed the moment Shedeur Sanders officially became the future of the Browns. The room was silent. Not the usual press conference silence, but a heavy, uncomfortable, something is wrong silence. Shedeur Sanders stepped up to the podium, face calm but eyes exhausted, the kind of tired that doesn't come from the game, but from everything happening around the game. The Browns had just been embarrassed by the 49ers. Special teams collapsed. Veterans were barking at rookies. A playoff-ready stadium turned into a funeral march, and in the middle of all that chaos, a 22-year-old rookie QB, who didn't turn the ball over once, was walking toward a microphone to take responsibility for everyone else's mistakes that he adjusted the mic, took a breath, and then came the moment that instantly went viral across social media. A reporter leaned forward and asked the question everyone now calls the rude question. Did you like Coach Stefanski being aggressive backed up in your own territory? The room froze. Reporters looked around. Even Stefanski, standing off to the side, tensed up. That it was a trap question, a chance to push a rookie into criticizing his coach on live TV. The type of clip that goes viral on ESPN by morning. But Shedeur didn't blink. First, he said, "That's a rude question." The tone, the control, the maturity, it wasn't normal. Not for a rookie. Not for a player who just survived a sideline confrontation with Jerry Jeudy that millions of fans were already dissecting frame by frame. Shedeur continued, "We're not ever going to be here pointing fingers at a coach. That's disrespectful. That's not in my place." He shut the question down without disrespect, without losing control, without falling into the trap. He didn't defend the play call, he defended the team. And that's when people realized something. This kid wasn't just answering a question. He was protecting the organization at a moment when the organization couldn't protect itself. Behind closed doors, the Browns were a mess. The sideline clip of Jeudy clapping aggressively in Shedeur's face had already exploded online. Veterans didn't like being corrected by a rookie. Receivers were running off-script routes. The O-line had 3 injuries. Nothing was functioning the way it should. And yet, Shedeur stood at that podium taking bullets for everybody. Then came the heartbreaking moment that a reporter brought up: the second half collapse. Receivers not in the right spots. Timing issues, miscommunications. Everyone expected Shedeur to finally point fingers, but he didn't. He lowered his eyes for a second, looked almost disappointed in himself, and said quietly, "I didn't do a great job rallying everybody together. I need to be better." The clip hit the internet like a bomb. Fans couldn't believe it. How is the rookie taking blame for the veterans? This kid is built different. He's protecting Stefanski more than Stefanski protects him. But the person who reacted the strongest wasn't a fan. It was Myles Garrett. Reporters had asked Garrett about the team's young players earlier in the week. His answer suddenly took on a whole new meaning. "This is our team just as much as it is theirs. They need to take ownership. Say what's on their mind." Garrett wasn't talking to the media. He was talking to Shedeur, He was giving the rookie permission to lead. He was telling him, "You're not just a kid in this locker room. You're the future." That's why Shedeur's press conference mattered. He wasn't crying for help. He wasn't blaming anyone. He wasn't acting like a rookie. He was stepping into the role the Browns needed him to play. And here's the real twist, the one fans don't know yet. Multiple Browns veterans privately told reporters that Shedeur's words hit harder than anything the coaches said all week. One source even said, "He's the only one who didn't run from responsibility." Think about that. A rookie with 2 NFL starts just became the emotional anchor of a team full of veterans, and the moment wasn't loud. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't a locker room fight. That it was a quiet sentence, spoken into a microphone. After a humiliating loss, "I need to be better." That confession, the one he didn't even know, is what shook Cleveland. And inside the building, something shifted immediately. The rookies gravitated toward him. The veterans respected him. The front office noticed the leadership. And Kevin Stefanski realized he might have something he never expected, a quarterback who's not just talented, but wired like a franchise leader. When Shedeur left the podium that night, the press conference clip was already exploding across Twitter, TikTok, and ESPN alerts. But what happened after he stepped off that stage was even more important, and almost nobody outside the building knows the full story. Inside the locker room, things were tense. Players were frustrated. Veterans were pissed. Rookies were quiet. Nobody was talking to anyone. The loss wasn't just a scoreboard failure. It exposed cracks in the foundation. Jerry Jeudy sat at his locker scrolling through his phone, watching himself trend for the wrong reasons. The sideline confrontation with Shedeur was everywhere. Fans were clowning him. Analysts were asking why a veteran with the highest drop rate in the NFL was yelling at a rookie who protected the ball all game. For the first time in years, Jeudy didn't have a comeback ready. He looked shaken. Meanwhile, Myles Garrett stood in the middle of the room, helmet still on, staring at the replay on his phone. When Shedeur shut down that rude question, Garrett paused the clip and said one quiet sentence that only a few teammates heard. "That's a leader." Across the room, Kevin Stefanski was pacing, phone buzzing nonstop, reporters texting him quotes, front office calling for updates. That he knew what was coming. The debate that would dominate every Cleveland sports show the next morning. Is the rookie more mature than the veterans? Is Stefanski losing the locker room? Why is Shedeur the only one taking accountability? Before Stefanski could gather his thoughts, Andrew Berry walked in. The GM didn't say a word. He didn't need to. His face said everything. This team was spiraling emotionally, and one wrong message could destroy the locker room. Then something unexpected happened. Shedeur walked into the room, and no cameras. No reporters. Just 53 players who had just suffered one of the ugliest losses of the season. All staring at the rookie who just defended the entire franchise on national TV. He didn't yell. He didn't give a cliché speech. He didn't try to act like a superstar. He simply said, "We need to talk." A few players looked confused. A few rolled their eyes. And Jerry Jeudy sat back in his chair, arms crossed. But Shedeur kept going. "I'm not calling anybody out. I'm calling us out. We ain't lined up right. We ain't seeing plays the same. We're not trusting each other. That's on me too. I need to communicate better." The room went silent. This was the moment Garrett had talked about. The moment where rookies take ownership. Shedeur continued, "I'm here to win games, not to throw anybody under the bus. So whatever happened today, whatever we didn't do right, let's talk about it now. Let's fix it now. Because I'm not going down like this again." It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't movie-level. It was honest. And honesty hits harder than hype. For the first time since the game ended, Myles Garrett spoke up. He nodded toward Shedeur and said, "You heard the man. Say what you need to say." One by one, players opened up. A receiver admitted he ran the wrong depth on a crucial third down. A lineman admitted he missed an assignment because of the injury shuffle. A running back admitted the timing on the mesh handoffs was off. And then, finally, Jerry Jeudy spoke. He cleared his throat and said, "Look, I shouldn't come at you like that on the sideline. I was frustrated. That's on me." The entire room turned. Everyone expected Shedeur to snap back, or embarrass Jeudy, or call him out like social media wanted. But Shedeur simply nodded and said, "We good." Just 2 words. 2 simple words. But those 2 words diffused the entire situation. Stefanski watched it all happen from the corner. The rookie fixing the locker room in ways he couldn't. In ways he never could, he realized something he didn't want to admit. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just the quarterback of the future. He was becoming the voice of the present. Andrew Berry noticed it too. He watched the players, especially the veterans, giving Shedeur more respect in that one meeting than they had shown all season. The Browns needed leadership, real leadership, honest leadership. And that night, the youngest player in the building provided it. But the real shock came the next morning. Jimmy Haslam called Berry at 7:12 a.m. His message was clear. Why is the only person taking accountability the rookie? Haslam wasn't mad at Shedeur. He was impressed. But he was furious at the veterans. Furious at the sideline behavior. Furious at how the locker room crumbled. And most importantly, he was furious that Stefanski needed a 22-year-old to clean up his mess. That phone call changed everything. Because by noon, a private meeting had been scheduled. Stefanski, Berry, Haslam, and the coaching staff. And the big topic on the agenda wasn't the 49ers' loss. It wasn't the special teams disaster. It wasn't the play dash calling. It was one single question. Is Shedeur Sanders already the real leader of this team? Chapter 3 reveals the meeting that changed the entire franchise and the decision Haslam made behind closed doors that would leak 2 days later and send shockwaves through the NFL. The morning after the loss, the Browns facility didn't feel like a football building. It felt like a courtroom. Executives walking fast, phones buzzing nonstop, reporters camping outside the gate, players scrolling through their feeds, watching the Shedeur clip go viral on every platform. But the real story wasn't happening online. It was happening behind one door on the second floor of the Browns facility, a conference room where the most uncomfortable meeting of the season was about to begin. Kevin Stefanski walked in first. He looked exhausted. He knew exactly what this meeting was about. Andrew Berry entered next, carrying a folder filled with analytics, pressure charts, and quotes from the media. And then Jimmy Haslam walked in, face serious, jaw tight, no smile. The room went silent. Haslam didn't even sit down at first. He looked around and asked one question. Why did the youngest player on this roster show more leadership than the rest of the team combined? Nobody spoke. Stefanski tried to jump in, but Haslam cut him off. I watched the tape. I watched the locker room meeting. I watched his press conference. That kid is doing your job. The words hit Stefanski hard. Berry cleared his throat and handed Haslam a printed sheet. A summary of Shedeur's second start. 16/25 passing, 149 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 0 blame shifting, 0 finger pointing. Then Berry showed something else. A screenshot of trending hashtags. Hashtag respect Shedeur, hashtag Cleveland future QB, hashtag he acted like the leader is PN, Fox Sports, CBS, Bleacher Report, all praising one person. Not the coach, not the veterans, not the front office. The rookie, Haslam, finally sat down, leaned forward, and said, "We drafted him for talent. We didn't expect him to fix culture." Stefanski tried to respond. "Jimmy, he's still learning the system. The receivers aren't aligned with him yet, the timing." But Haslam cut him off again. "And whose job is that? His or yours?" Berry stayed quiet. Everyone knew the truth. The system wasn't failing because Shedeur was young. The system was failing because the team wasn't built around him yet. Then Haslam said something that made the entire room freeze. "If the veterans can't adjust to the rookie, we will adjust the roster." That was the moment it became real. This wasn't about one loss. This wasn't about Jeudy clapping in Shedeur's face. This wasn't about a reporter asking a rude question. This was about the franchise realizing it had something special and realizing some players weren't ready to accept it. Berry slid another page across the table. Locker room reports from team captains. On one page, next to a question labeled, "Who demonstrates real leadership?" 3 names were written. Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, Shedeur Sanders, a rookie, listed next to 2 potential Hall of Famers. Haslam exhaled and finally asked the question that would determine the rest of the season. Are we wasting time by not letting Shedeur fully lead this offense? Stefanski hesitated, looked down, then finally said, "He's ahead of schedule, but he's not ready to run everything yet." Haslam wasn't convinced that he asked Berry, "What do the analytics say about his progression?" Berry tapped the folder. "They say he makes the right read more consistently than both veterans. They say he processes faster than expected. They say the receivers are the ones out of sync, not him. And the model projects him as a long-term QB1 if we build around him. Stefanski looked stunned, not because of the numbers, but because Barry had clearly been studying this deeper than he realized. Then Haslam leaned back and delivered the hammer. So what's the plan? Because the city's behind him, the players are behind him, and I'm behind him. Everyone looked at Stefanski, he swallowed hard and finally said, then we need to make changes. Receiver room, offensive rhythm, practice reps. The offense needs to run through him, not around him. Haslam nodded, Barry nodded, and then Haslam said the words that would later leak to the media. Fine. Starting this week, Shedeur is no longer the future. He is the identity. The meeting ended right there. Stefanski walked out looking like a man who had just been given both a warning and a lifeline. Barry immediately began calling position coaches and scheduling shifts in practice structure. And Haslam? He made one private call to a prominent national reporter and said, watch Cleveland this week. Big changes coming. 2 days later, that reporter dropped a cryptic line on ESPN. Cleveland is making internal adjustments centered around Shedeur Sanders. Don't be surprised by major shifts. Social media exploded. Fans speculated. Players raised eyebrows. But inside the building, one thing had changed forever. The rookie wasn't just being protected anymore. He was being prioritized, and every veteran, especially the ones who thought they could bark at him, now understood this is Shedeur's team.